Hey, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, or whenever you might be watching this video. Thanks for tuning in, and if this is your first time seeing Walking in My Shoes, be sure to go back in the history and you'll view the first segment. So this is segment 2 of 2, interview with an expat. So I am here with Mike from Live My Ass Off, and he has a YouTube channel. Mike, go ahead and pub it out for us.
Live My Ass Off is the easiest way. YouTube.com/Live My Ass Off.
So, yeah, so we're in our segment 2. We had a fun time in segment 1. Be sure to like and subscribe. Go backwards. Check it out.
So for my first 3 weeks, I probably spent $10,000.
Wow, $10,000.
Yeah, $3,000 a week. Because I mean, again, you got to remember, right? This hotel, and again, so here's the, and that, yeah, I get your wow, because you got to remember when I came here, I was staying at the JW, and it was like only $115. Well, that's a lot of money in Thailand, but in U.S. dollars, that's the thing. When you come over here, you're going to be spending U.S. dollars. You're going to be thinking in terms of, and if you could stay at the JW for 3 nights, you know, and it's only 15,000 baht, you're like, oh my God, that's nothing.
So what is the JW, just because people might not know?
Oh, sorry, JW Marriott.
Okay, so it's a Marriott hotel.
Yeah. So it's one of the Marriott brands.
Yeah.
It's not the Ritz-Carlton, but it's basically it's a sort of a luxury brand. And that's the other thing over here too. He says, "Oh yeah, I stay at the Holiday Inn." You might be like, "Jesus, dude, you know, why don't you spend more than $1 a day?" Holiday Inn is a very well respected. It's not a luxury brand here, but I will say it's a 4-star.
Yeah,
hovering area.
Absolutely.
The rooms are fairly new, and it's kind of the equivalent of the Holiday Inns here are pretty much the equivalent of a Marriott back home, meaning that like Holiday Inn is, you know, it's a useful hotel. It's a utility.
It's very utility.
Right. There's going to be no scent. Right. Like you open, you know, how like you go into a lobby and there's the. So Holiday Inn over here is a decent brand, but the point is that the JW is outstanding. You know,
right, and
Hilton and all that. So,
and again, we're going to have contrasting numbers, and that's really the benefit of this interview. So you're going to hear, you know, Mike's $10,000.
What do you think you spent?
And I know exactly what I spent. It wasn't close to $10,000. So we're talking,
including hotel,
including hotel. So where I stayed at the Oceanfront Hotel on Soi 3. And it was about $25.
The Avani?
No, not the Avani. Oh. It's actually called Oceanfront.
Oh, no. You're near Soi 5. I know exactly where you are.
Yeah, so it's actually on Soi 3. It's in between Soi 5 and
Oceanfront?
3. Yeah, it's called Oceanfront.
It's right there on Soi 5.
It's, no, it's
if you stayed at Oceanfront and it's got like basically a bar in the bottom floor?
There is a bar and a restaurant.
Upstairs?
Yeah, and then I stayed at another one close by, but I spent about $30 a night.
Okay.
So it was really, the
cheap,
price was
super,
right,
yeah,
very
great.
inexpensive.
Totally, right on Beach Road.
That's correct. So I woke up to the, you know, you're not going to hear the waves, but I mean, I pretty much could open up the window and there it was.
So you got a beachfront room?
I did have a
nice,
beachfront
dude.
room.
That's
most
a great
nights.
deal for that.
So when I was here for the 3 weeks, the first 3 weeks, of course I was here longer, did a lot of activities. I mean, a lot of activities. And it wasn't a big beer fest or anything like that.
If you're here for 3 weeks and you're spending, I mean, that's $1,000 right there.
On the hotel use. About $1,000 I would say. That's realistic.
For 3 weeks, sure.
And then I did take a trip to Phuket, which was $60 round trip. Actually, less than that. In 2019, it was much less than $60.
You were here in November?
Yeah, it was really less. So, and I went scuba diving. Now, that I didn't get a big discount on, but I did I think it was 4-day certification scuba diving trip.
If you're going to be underwater, trusting someone to give you the proper regulator, I wouldn't want to get a good deal on that. I want to overpay.
It was $500, and I lived.
Done. And all day long.
Yeah. So that was $500. So if we're adding up numbers, and again, I didn't do the same type of activities. I did go to some bars, some girl bars. So you're going to hear kind of both contrasting, right? So, and it's not that I didn't go to the girly bars or anything like that. That was a lot of fun. I also didn't drink a whole bunch. So again, how much you bring is really going to be up to you. You can do this on a budget, or you can do it and, man, you can stay at the JW. You can have steak, American food. I had a lot of Thai food and a lot of street food.
Too,
So an example of food real quick. I spent on average about 100 baht. I would say, I mean, this sounds embarrassing, but probably twice a day.
100 baht a meal?
100 baht a meal.
Yeah, I mean, again, and
$3.
he's talking about basically like eating on like street food, which is excellent over here. Don't worry about like getting diarrhea or any of this. What is it? Montezuma's Revenge nonsense.
Bali belly. I did get it.
It's it's really good quality food, and in fact, the easiest way is to just look for the street carts that have the longest line of Thai people in front of it.
That is correct.
That's good. But let me just go back to one thing actually, because you said the amount of money you bring over. Don't physically bring money over.
Yeah.
Just bring an ATM card and a backup one. Bring like two in case you lose it or it breaks or whatever to get over here, because the ATMs over here always work. They're always filled with money, and you can always find one, and they're always in a safe area. Basically, I mean, there's dangerous areas everywhere. Okay, but for the most part, especially as a foreigner, you're gonna be very safe over here. The best advice I can just give everyone is don't be an idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, if you come over here and you have like some integrity, and you're not gonna like basically encroach on the freedoms of anyone else, then you're gonna be treated with a lot of respect, and therefore you're not gonna be outcast. But I mean, if you show up drunk in the back of a cab and then the following morning you bitch about how he charged you too much, I'm like, dude, you paid the jerk tax. You know what?
Absolutely.
Just suck it up.
And the thing is, so we're talking about how much does it cost, right? So we have on the higher end, we're going to talk about $10,000 versus $2,000. Can you come over here on 3 weeks on $2,000? The answer is yes. Will you have a good time? I believe you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Can you go to bars? You can go to bars, but you got to budget your money what you're going to buy.
I mean, I don't spend even a fourth of that, and per month now.
Yeah.
And I will rent cars and you travel to Phuket for a long weekend or something like that.
And rent a motor scooter.
Absolutely. Rent a motor
scooter.
So
when you come for the first time, one thing a lot of people, they're intimidated by safety, by money, by all that stuff. Over here, it's from the very beginning, you're not spending a lot of money. And now you can.
But again, you have insurance. Have insurance that works over here. Even if you think you can somehow get, if it's June 1st, you don't need it any longer, get it. Don't dick around with that, because I'll tell you right now, the only motorbike accident I've ever been on was 2 days before I'm supposed to leave on the motorbike that I left, and I am completely sober, and I'm sitting there on the motorbike coming from Jomtien. I'm behind a bot bus. We'll get into what that is, but basically I'm behind a pickup truck that's got a metal frame on it, the silver metal frame in the back. I'm sitting there, got a friend of mine behind me. We're completely stopped. All the traffic in front of me is stopped. All the cars behind me are stopped. And I'm sitting there, and then 30 minutes later I wake up in the emergency room with blood all over my shirt. And people were like, "Oh my God, you're going to get in a motorbike accident." I'm like, dude, I was literally sitting on the sidewalk, and someone just rammed into me from behind, and I came to, and I was just they're like, and I just said, "Here, insurance. Do whatever you need to do." And I got 3 doctors around me, 7 nurses. I mean, it was just amazing. But
so what does that cost?
So that's a good story. I've never told you that. And so I was in Jomtien, right? I was heading from Jomtien back to Pattaya. And I woke up in this ER, and I was in Pattaya City Hospital, which is right on Soi Buakhao. And these may not mean anything to you, but anyway, the main street that is known. And I said, "Oh my God!" Because they did this 360-degree X-ray thingy again. I said, I literally had 3 doctors on me at one time, and nurses. I had one nurse just to bandage up my toe. I mean, it was amazing. And this is a city hospital. So I said, "Well, look, I have insurance." And so the girl I'm with, she's like, "All right, well, hold on, let me go get the invoice." And I'm like, "Oh, here it comes." So she comes back, gives me it. I look down, and I'm like, now by this time I can convert bot to $13.67.
That was your copay.
That was my ER visit.
ER visit paid, $13.
Not including medication, which we got at a pharmacy on the way home. And I'm like, okay, this is crazy. Now, just to give you kind of a contrast, I flew back and I stayed, as I mentioned, in Maui on the way home, right? And I stayed there a week. I'm part of Kaiser. So I call up Kaiser, say, "Hey, look, I got in this motorbike accident. I have no idea if I got the right care and what should I do?" They're like, "Go to Maui Memorial." So I go to Maui Memorial. I go through the ER process. They direct bill Kaiser, so I get an invoice. $8,500 for the exact same treatment, and the medication they gave me wasn't even as good quality.
So you had Thai insurance. You had not Thai insurance. You had a medical insurance from
I had insurance that would cover me over here, but I paid out of pocket because it was $13.67.
You never had to use that insurance. So
I have used it since then, but yeah.
Right. So what's an insurance cost here? Because you did recommend to everybody get the insurance.
Okay.
So what's that cost? Because that's one of our questions.
Living here, I have a different policy than I would if I were a traveler.
Yeah. So traveling.
So traveler's insurance, I highly recommend, and I can give you a link to it. And I don't make any money from it, but is Geo Blue. They are kind of a Blue Cross affiliate, but not necessarily. but it's incredible, and I've had to use it. Trust me, I've had to like call them at 3 a.m. this time in the ER from the Philippines, from Thailand, and I've used it, and I can guarantee you that they direct bill. I never had to put any money out of pocket, and they paid for everything, and they were amazing. And it was like $160, I think,
for a month,
for a year of insurance,
year.
And I can stay in the country up to 90 days.
So there it is. So insurance, $160. So I paid
free.
Yeah, which is awesome. So this last trip, I'm insured now. I don't remember the company, and I paid $48 for a month.
But
now,
you bought it to get in here,
I
right?
bought it to get in here, and it covered...
Did you get it from the Thailand Pass website?
I did. And it covered the COVID $50,000 USD, which you had to have back in March when I got here. Okay, so...
But I would not recommend getting that insurance. That is not real comprehensive.
No, you'll get your insurance, pay your $20 or $30 to your insurance. And you can go to a website, just type in Thai insurance for travelers, and there's tons of them, or we can provide links.
Yeah, we'll provide links because you don't want to just type in Thai insurance and be like, oh, cool, there's a guy named Jimmy who sells insurance.
No, but
don't do that.
I did end up doing that, and just to get my Thailand pass to come over.
Sure. That's different, though.
So on your 3-week trip, go ahead and get your month insurance. Maybe you stay longer. So...
but see, even back then, I knew I was going to travel globally more than at least 1 month, so I got a year.
Yeah, so you got a year. Okay. And that's important. So you guys just, if you're coming for that 3-week trip, again, that's what we're talking about right now, is coming for that 3-week trip, how much should you bring? Everybody's going to be different depending on what you want to do. If you're coming to meet girls and go to the bars and all that stuff, just know your expensive part is going to be the girls. And it's going to be the alcoholic drinks. So
it depends. I mean, I don't drink.
Yeah, you don't drink. If you're coming to drink and
spent
party,
a lot of money.
If you're coming to drink, that is. So if you're a drinker, a beer here at a bar is about 90 baht to 150 baht.
Is it? So $3 to $4?
It is. It's $3 to $4. Yeah, $3 to $5. Still a great price compared to America.
Totally. Yeah.
Mixed drinks are exactly the same. Actually, I've paid upwards of 220 baht recently for a drink that didn't have alcohol, but it could have. It was a virgin drink.
Do we want to go into what a lady drink is and how you're going to buy those too?
I think we have to, just because some of these guys, you're going to come here,
they're going to be like, wait a minute, how come I bought 2 drinks all of a sudden?
You're going to want to meet a girl, a Thai girl, and they're beautiful, and they're going to come up to you and start talking with you, and they're going to talk English or Thai or whatever. And
ideally English.
And you might have 2 of them come up to you. Who knows, right? Whatever floats your boat. Again, we're talking about how much money do you need to bring. So you need to bring. I brought cash when I first came. I actually brought $1,000 just as a backup because I didn't know.
Like in hundreds or 20s?
Oh, great question. Bring it in hundreds, and they got to be perfect.
Your exchange rate is amazing with 100.
Yeah, do not bring a wrinkled 100. They will not take
any ink on it. Game over.
That's right. So when I landed, I pretty much had an ATM card. I had bought already in hand. You don't need to do like Mike said. He's absolutely right. Just bring
an
a credit
ATM card. Yeah.
I did bring cash, and I went to an exchange, got some cash, and which I never really used. I used my ATM card on that first trip. I didn't use much cash at all. I used the ATM.
Oh, and then you just saved the cash just in case.
Yeah, I saved the cash.
U.S. dollars.
Right.
Got it.
Correct.
Yeah,
I didn't have to exchange it.
Makes sense.
Again, so how much money you bring in? So we're talking, again, it's all up to you. What are you going to do? So a lady drink is really interesting, and I'm going to let Mike kind of start. You've bought a lady drink before. Or a ladyboy drink as well.
Yeah, just the one.
Just the one. Okay.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, basically, all it is it's a drink for a lady, right? Which basically means you're in this bar and you're sitting there with them, and while you're talking with them, their goal is to obviously generate revenue for the establishment as well as themselves. And the main way that they do that initially is that you sit with them, you buy yourself a drink, and then you buy them a drink. And and if you think, oh my God, they're going to sit there and they're going to get drunk, for the most part, the girls are drinking watered down juice, fruit juice. And it's going to cost you about the same as your drink, sometimes more. Like I'm a Schweppes Manaus guy, right? Like I'm basically drinking ginger ale or I'm drinking Diet Coke. And even in a bar, those can be like 100 baht.
Absolutely. There's no discount on those guys.
And the lady drink will be, like about the same. But again, at the end of the day, you're locking $6 for both of you.
Yeah. So again, you're meeting girls, and maybe you're a shy guy. They're going to come up to you. I don't care how shy you are, whatnot. These girls are going to come up to you.
The shyer you are,
almost.
So here's the thing too: is that if you're shy and you go into a bar and you're just like sitting around, you're going to look new. There is a look to a new guy that's here, and trust me, these girls absolutely know what it is, and they love it because basically, like me, when I came over here, I was spending U.S. dollars. So I'm like, it's only $250. No worries. I'll just like, where now I'm like, I don't know, that's going to be about $8.50. That's going to be $8.50 for that salad, Robbie. I don't know if I can do that.
And we're going to get into that next, the food.
Which is why a guy like me or a new guy or like that is called a 2-week millionaire.
That's right. And at 2,000, if you brought over 2,000 cash, you can live pretty much like a 2-week millionaire. Again, you're not buying girls every night. Maybe you are, or buying drinks.
It depends what's your definition of king.
Yeah, so exactly. And again, having the contrasting things here, we can talk about some of the higher end spending, some of the lower end spending. I would say I was more of a frugal spender, not that I didn't spend money. So part of my things, I mean, I went to some bars, of course. You're going to buy a lady drink or 2 or 3. I did drink on that first trip quite a bit. Had a good time. Mike is actually a non-drinker, but he spent a lot of money. He was able to meet a lot of cool people. But having the experience, coming to Thailand.
Yeah, no, totally.
Coming to Thailand
it's like nothing else
time,
in the world. Plus Pattaya.
Yeah, it's about the experience.
Yes, there's no place in the world like Pattaya.
Yeah, and coming during the high season. So the next part is how much could you spend? How much do you bring? So the seasons really will dictate some of what you're going to spend.
The cost of things, yeah.
So high season in Pattaya is right around November through February. Am I right, or is it a little bit off?
Basically. So, again, and it's also, just in case you're not going to want to go to Pattaya, if you want to go to Phuket, if you want to go to Koh Samui, high season in Thailand, effectively, is basically from November through about the middle of January, maybe the end of January, and then it kind of dies down a little bit, and then it shows up again for Chinese New Year, which sometimes, in fact, is like the first week in February, in which case January just kind of rolls into it. And then it slows down pretty much in March, and then it comes back in Songkran.
Yeah, Songkran. Yeah.
And so those are the things. Now, there is peak season, which is higher than high season, and that is basically about December 15th or so through about January 4th or 5th.
Yeah.
And it is amazing how the following Monday after New Year's Eve, the prices of hotels just
I experienced that, and you're absolutely right.
And you're going, wait a minute, it's still January.
Yeah.
And everyone, you're just like, there's still people here. And you wake up, you're like, wait a minute, my hotel is like 1/3 the price it was last night.
Yeah,
and so,
absolutely. So, and bringing money, and again, I brought up, depending on what you want to do, if you're going to the bars, clubs. So I did a lot of exterior events. I went to several of the cultural centers. And there's
you got
you got to do some of that stuff for the first time.
I highly recommend.
Yeah, so I went on a tiger tour. I got to pet a baby tiger, or hold whatever, hang out with a large tiger, and that cost me about 800 baht, which I thought was kind of pricey. Well, now I do. But then it was $25 bucks or something.
Yeah.
But it was super cheap to be able to hang out with a tiger and then hang out with monkeys, and so you got to plan for that kind of stuff. And I would honestly tell you, again, depending on what you're going to do, I budgeted right about 2,000 baht for a week doing that stuff.
2,000 baht a week?
Yes, and I did 3 events.
You're
3 events.
Frugal.
Now, I was pretty well. I did 3 events, and then the days I didn't, I was.
It's $60, by the way.
Right, $60
for a week. What's it cost you to go to the movies in Pismo Beach?
I know, right? It's crazy.
It's $34 each, right?
No, it's not quite that much.
You go to the lay down thingy, right?
They don't have that in Pismo.
Oh, it's right. It's smaller. Sorry,
it's smaller, man. We're not that luxurious.
High tech. Yeah, you go to the drive-in movie basically.
Yeah, I go to the
your 71 Chevy.
Netflix.
Attaboy.
Anyways, guys, so the days I didn't do events, I'm hanging out at a bar, and there's always stuff to do in Pattaya.
It's a 20.
You don't even need to bring tons of money if you want to go and people watch. It is absolutely the king of people watching. And Mike brought up peak and high season. So right in December, they have one of the world's largest fireworks festival. I don't know if you knew about that.
So it's November. It used to be called the International Fireworks Festival. Yeah.
Is it November?
Well, here's why it depends. Because initially it was basically to celebrate the king. Right, it was a giant, and then they were like, wow, this is really cool. So they changed it into the International Fireworks Festival, and I came to that for 3 years in a row. That was actually my second week I came back. It was amazing. They had a road race. They block off the entire beach road. It was like 2015, I think, was the first time I was there for the International Fireworks Festival. And the reason they call it that is because there are barges out in the water, and each barge is basically a country, and the countries will perform their fireworks display Friday night and Saturday night. Yeah. And then they'll get voted on who's better. Now, again, it's not the United States and Canada, that sort of thing. So it's not super international. However, COVID showed up. Well, you can't travel internationally during COVID.
Yeah.
So now it's called the Pattaya Fireworks Festival.
I wonder if that was when I toured in December. So I do have video. If you look back at my video, you'll see some of that.
Of 2019?
Of just this past year.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, go take a peek at it.
So you didn't go in 2019?
I did because I was there. I'd never.
I mean, there's fireworks at New Year's Eve.
Yeah, I was there for New Year's.
Okay, all right.
So, and again, it didn't cost anything, right? I mean, it's basically my time, and your time is important. And this is the whole purpose of coming to Thailand: is where are you at? What are you doing with your time? So, doing it on a budget, meeting girls. So, not only bars is a place to meet girls. There's tons of other places.
Okay.
So, Mike brought up Kitty. So, which is my Thailand girlfriend. And how did I meet her? So, and it was a dating app called TINDER.
Oh, is that where you
it
met?
Was.
You swiped left? What is? I don't even know which one.
Swiped. Oh, shoot.
If you swipe right, it means yes, right?
Okay, yeah, that's what I did.
Okay, swipe left is no.
And,
got it.
And it's not that I sent a message right away. I actually waited a long time.
And you both have to swipe right.
Yeah, we both had to swipe right. And I sent her a happy birthday message. Happy birthday. And again, I'd already been talking to 2 other Thai gals, learning how to speak Thai.
Yeah, and you're using this app not to like get laid, basically.
No.
You're trying to I want to meet somebody to help me with this country.
Right. Which
is a really odd app to use for that, quite frankly.
But this is in February.
Okay.
And I wasn't planning on coming here until November.
Oh, wait, and you're using this app back home.
Correct.
Oh, interesting.
Correct.
Yeah, that's pretty proactive.
And I put on there, on my description, teach me Thai, I teach you English. So,
I teach you English, and they didn't realize that was bad English?
Bad English. But, anyway, so the description was I wasn't looking for that. I was looking for someone to teach me.
Okay.
And there's other apps like Thai Cupid and a bunch of other ones. I didn't use those. But anyways, on Tinder, I was able to also meet another person when I was here to take me on their motor scooter for a full week. Just to be
their motor scooter?
Yeah, I rode on the back of the motor scooter
for a week.
For a full week, she would show up at my hotel.
That's
8 in the morning.
By the way,
8 in the morning until 5 p.m.
Did you wear a helmet? No, I mean, I'm just wondering.
I should have worn a helmet.
No, because, I would have thought, initially, people are usually a little bit more...
I did not wear a helmet, guys, but I do have one now.
No, I mean, I'm not trying to scold you. I'm just kind of curious about the behavior.
Nope, I didn't. My first trip, I didn't, and I learned my lesson. I got in trouble by the police twice.
Well, sure, but that's...
And which means I had to pay 300 baht.
Yeah, well, that's a better lesson than I got
$9?
brain damage.
Yeah, $9.
Big deal.
I bought a helmet for 900 baht.
Yeah, exactly.
So, anyway, So how to meet girls? There are several different ways. You can go to the bars, do the whole drinks. You can meet them on the side of the road.
But let's be clear. You're going to meet bar girls in
bars. That's correct. You are going to meet bar girls.
So if you're looking for someone to basically be your English professor, and to be fair, I've met plenty of girls in bars that had really good English because they are doing this for a living with foreigners.
Yeah.
And so usually their English
is
pretty
making good money.
And making decent money.
Right. And
during high season.
And again, we can do a whole nother video on the girl life, in which we should, and maybe we will later on, about how girls are here in Pattaya.
Girls.
Yeah, bar girls, or just in general. We can do it in general one. So Kitty, I met her, and we started communicating, doing lessons, and it was nothing but doing some lessons.
And let's be clear, she's not a bar girl.
Definitely
she's
not a bar
awesome.
girl. So, she actually lives in Bangkok. She works at a mall full time and runs a mall store. So making regular wage here in Thailand as a professional mall worker, meaning just like any other mall.
Just a manager, but retail.
Yeah, retail
outlet.
So anyways,
one you guys have totally heard of.
Yep, and you guys have now seen her. If you've seen my old videos, she actually loves being on camera, and she's a lot of fun. So definitely go click like, subscribe onto my channel, check her out, and go ahead and feel free to leave a comment. She does read the comments.
God, that was smooth.
Always asks me.
You're getting good at that, man. Like, subscribe, share. I mean, that was under 10 seconds. Man. You should be in radio.
Yeah, smash the like button.
Smash.
So definitely several different ways to meet girls over here in Thailand for sure. So, we're going to give you a couple other tips here about your first time visit. Mike, if somebody came for the first time, a lot of times they get nervous. They're scared about it. Crime, third world country. Yeah. Could you just take a minute and just talk about, should they be scared? Should we worry about, having my gold chain around my neck or being pickpocketed or anything like that? Do you have a story or something you can give about that?
Yeah, so I do have a good story, actually. I will tell you that my experience, and I've lived in ridiculously safe places in the United States, And over here, I feel even safer. And if you know Southern California and you know Coronado, so that island is very like pedestrian friendly. It's very bicycle friendly. You don't necessarily need to lock your door, if you will, for your house. But of course, everybody does. Everyone locks their car. That's just what you do in the U.S. But it's incredibly safe there. Now, over here, especially for a foreigner, it's very safe. I will say that. Everyone's going to have their own personal experience, but the other thing, too, is like back to what I said earlier, which is don't be an idiot. In other words, like don't walk around with like $150 hanging out of your pocket. But I will tell you that if you do get careless, my first night in Pattaya, one of my first nights in Pattaya after I had been coming here like 2 or 3 times, and I got into the habit of like when I show up, and you know and I can give you guys plenty of tips on that, by the way, because if you land and there's a couple of hotels that if you want to check in early and not pay an additional night, all you got to do is check in after 5 a.m. That's something that I learned. That was an important safety tip, but I didn't have to pay for the previous night. It's kind of neat. But there's only a few hotels that do that, but they're high-quality hotels, and they're in Pattaya. So it was like about 3:30 in the morning, and I am sitting on the sidewalk, and I am right in front of, remember where we did your video where we started, we came out of Soy 6, we stood there, you turned your camera on, and we walked down 6-1. Okay, so if you're standing there, look out at the beach. I was like sitting on the sidewalk there, right? And I'm sitting there hanging out. I'm on my phone. I'm totally asleep. And I'm waiting for 5 a.m. because I'm like, I got to wait for 5 a.m. so I can then check into this hotel, and they're not going to charge me for another. Okay, great. So I'm sitting there, and I'm eating like I don't know, something I got on the street, some street food. I'm exhausted. There's hardly few people. And I put my phone down, and I forgot about it. And I got up, and I stood, and I started walking down the sidewalk. This Thai guy comes running after me, shaking his arm, right, yelling at me. And I'm thinking, oh, man, I'm going to get, this is all those stories I heard of like hangover and like my gold chain's going to get. And he says, no, your phone. And I'm like, wait, what? Like this guy literally, he could have just totally walked up to someone 10 feet before he gets to me and been like, can you just give me $100 for this phone? Because I'm from the U.S., right? So I either have $1,000 iPhone or I have $1,000 Samsung phone. That's what we use in the United States, right?
That's correct.
And so I'm like, you kidding me, man? Like, and I went to give him money, totally wouldn't take it. Now it's 3:30 in the morning. So anyone up at 3:30 in the morning, one could argue they're kind of a hustler.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? And this guy was like totally amazing. I tell you that story because you're going to run into foreigners that have spent some time over here, and they're going to have very similar stories.
Yeah, I have a couple myself. We're not going to go into that.
I have another one where I was in Phuket. This is like recently, and this guy like waited for this thing that I left, and I came back. There's a video on my channel about it. But the point is that like that's going to happen over here to the point where you almost expect it.
Yeah.
And so you with the jacket. Tell that story because I will tell you that your story is very common.
Okay, so I went over to, and again, it's on one of my videos back in the past era. Be sure to go check it out. So I left a very expensive jacket, a shell jacket, like, what do you call a Patagonia jacket, right? Yeah. So we're talking a $100, $200 jacket at a bar after I'm drinking. Well, in that jacket happened to be 10,000 baht. In the jacket.
Nice work, guy.
Yeah, totally. I left that jacket, and I had no idea. I woke up the next day going, hey, where's my jacket?
Where's my 10,000 baht is what I
wasn't even thinking the money.
Really?
I was just thinking, because I had other money.
Right.
And
he's pretty wealthy.
So I'm like, and this is in Nana Plaza. This is at Hillary, a bar called Hillary 2. Hillary 2, that's correct.
I've heard of it occasionally.
And and I left this jacket, again,
left it wherever. You probably have no idea, right?
Yeah, I'm at a hotel around the corner, and I'm like, okay, where did I go the night before? And you guys, just keep in mind, I did drink a little bit, did hang out, met a couple of girls. We had a good time. It was a lot of fun. So waking up, where's my jacket?
So they're escorting you back to the bar.
No,
from
they
your
didn't have to escort me back to
I
the
just
bar.
thought I was going to lob that
He was going to lob that out.
That would have been a good
So
story.
I woke up kind of hungover, so that was the point.
Wow.
Right? So it's roughly about 11 o'clock in the morning.
And you just woke up.
It's pretty much just
What
woke
are you
up.
doing, party animal?
So, and my hotel's just around the corner. So I get up and I start walking around, kind of going, where was I at? I saw a bar door open, Hillary 2. The door was open. I'm like, okay, this is where I was at. I actually just walked into the bar. Nobody's in there. It's quiet. And then I see out of the corner some girl with a mop. She like drops her mop and wondering who in the heck is this guy. Comes over to me and starts speaking Thai. And I'm like, I left my jacket. Do you have a manager? Manager, please. Of course, I greeted her first. I said, Sawadee Cup. like, good morning,
Right.
you know, because I didn't know what else to say.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. And so she went and got the manager. The manager spoke great English, a small Thai guy. And he went by in the bar, lifted up my jacket, and he goes, yeah, this is you. So also in my jacket, very important, you must have, by the way, guys. And I don't recommend you carrying it with you. I recommend you carrying a photocopy, is a passport. So
Your actual passport was in there?
My actual passport was in my jacket. So he knew it was me. So he had been in the jacket, but what's interesting is 10,000 baht was right there. They could have taken that jacket, take the 10,000 baht, and which, by the way, is a lot of money.
It's $300, but it's also basically
rent for a couple months for them.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty much 2 to 3 weeks' pay.
Yeah, I mean, so afterwards I tried to give him 1,000 baht, just thank you. He would not take it. He was almost insulted, and I gave the bow and said a kampung cup, which means thank you. And I left, but I left knowing, and him probably knowing, I'll be back. And I did go back. Of course. So I did go back on my next visit.
And you're going to tell that story to all your buddies.
And I'll tell that story.
Safe, smart. Good.
So, you know, is Thailand safe? Absolutely. Is it affordable? Absolutely.
Can you get in trouble and can you get harmed? Sure.
You can.
But again, don't be an idiot.
Don't be an idiot. Don't do drugs. That's a big one. And also, so a couple of tips that we'd like to pass by to you. So confrontation. So I was at a couple of bars, and I've seen this happen. And I was warned highly, do not get in a scuffle with a Thai person, regardless of whose fault it is.
Don't raise your voice.
Yeah, don't raise your voice. Just, it's okay to put your hands together.
Be wrong.
Sawadee cup, and walk away. Does that happen often? It's never happened to me. I've seen it personally.
Usually with drunk people.
Yeah, usually with drunk, intoxicated. And you'll meet a lot of that. And, you know, just be respectful. Don't be an idiot. Be respectful. It's not scary. This place is totally safe. The cops are not out to get you.
No.
They're really not.
They're actually more concerned about helping you. Than
and there's the tourist police, which, you know,
which aren't cops. They're just basically advisors, but they're excellent.
Excellent. So it's not scary. Another question I get coming up is this language barrier. So there are a couple of key words you're going to want to learn when coming over, like thank you, hello, that was always good. But the language barrier. The language barrier. So again, your first trip, if you're going to Pattaya, keep in mind most people actually speak English, and they'll speak it well enough to where you can navigate where you're going.
I think it's another reason why you should spend some time in Bangkok before you go to Pattaya. Because, I mean, it's an international city. There's a significant amount of
lots of English.
Yeah.
So lots of English. And I guess we're trying to, part of this interview here is trying to take away the fear of why you're not here already, right? And how much does it cost? So, and
everyone's going to be like, well, shit, Mike says it's going to cost me $10,000 for 3 weeks.
But I'm telling you $2,000 for 3 weeks.
You don't need to spend that much.
You don't need to spend that much. And again, depends.
I recommend it, though.
For definitely a good time.
For your first time? My God.
I spent $2,000, and I think I spent less than that on my first trip here, and I went scuba diving. And I drank, but I wasn't a drunkard. I was doing stuff every day. I mean, I went to the lion park. I went to the elephant park.
I want to touch, you brought that up a couple times. I want to quickly touch on that because a lot of people, it's a pretty controversial topic. For example, on my channel, my most watched video, it's like hundreds of thousands of views, is when Gracie and I went to the Tiger Temple. Not the Tiger Temple. The Tiger Temple in Phuket is actually not a good place to go. This was a different tiger place, Tiger Park. And they don't treat the animals the same in every park. My point is that do your research. Do your research on how the steps that are necessary to basically tame an elephant to make it think it's okay for you to strap a chair to its back and walk around in the woods.
Yeah.
It's not pleasant. I will not ride any more elephants after doing the research and actually being in an elephant place where you do that. Now, there are also elephant sanctuaries where they basically take in the elephants, and they are doing that because they're taking care of the elephants. And yes, you can sometimes ride on them, and the elephants are pretty docile, and they want that. But for the most part, just be really, really careful about because you're going to get into a cab, and the cab is going to have this laminated piece of plastic, and it's going to have...
Go here.
Yeah, it's going to have a tiger thing. It's going to have an elephant thing. So just, I mean, use your best judgment, but do realize that we are not in a country that has...
It's different rules.
Yeah, I mean... there's no PETA over here, right?
Yeah.
People ethical treatment of animals. So just realize that it's not necessarily going to be the best thing because a lot of people are like, oh, I got to go to Thailand to ride an elephant. I got to go to Thailand to go to the beaches. I got to go to Thailand to ride a tuk-tuk or whatever, right? So
yeah, and it
I'm
really
just throwing
depends.
it out there.
And it really depends on what you're here to do, right? I mean, again, my first trip here, I was here just to kind of escape reality. I went to a couple of bars. I went to a bunch of events. Went to some cultural shows. Did all that kind of stuff. That was the reason of my first trip coming to Thailand, and to meet a friend who didn't show up, Tony.
Wow,
man, I called
You're
that
just
guy
going to
out.
keep going back around to that.
That
He's
guy-
going to watch this, unsubscribe. You just
I
lost
don't even
him.
know if he's a member yet or a subscriber.
He's not
yet.
a subscriber?
I have no idea. I haven't talked to him.
Well, we better talk about him a whole lot more then.
We
So
should
the
talk
algorithm
about
will
it.
find a Tony, and then he'll know to subscribe.
There you go. There you go. So the next little thing we're going to talk about, Mike, do you still have time? Because now we're going to.
I got all day.
We got
I
all
do need to
day.
go to the restroom. We're at 53 minutes. I mean, how long do you want your live stream, your interviews to be?
I know. This is supposed to be only like
You want to take a break?
hour.
Let's
So
take a break. I need some water.
Do we want to do another segment or?
I do want to do another segment,
So
but I
we'll
think we
do
should take a break
number
on this
3.
one, and then you'll allow them to come back on the next one. Because, I mean, pretty much this whole time all we've done is talk about how much you hate your friend Tony.
How much I hate my friend Tony
Yeah.
and how cheap it is to come here and he's
absolutely.
not here.
No, but seriously, I mean, because basically we just talked about the cost. I mean, we went off on some tangents. But
Yeah.
the key was like, how much money do you bring over here and what do you do before you show up kind of thing. And at the end of the day, all you got to do is show up with your passport and an ATM card.
Yeah, and I agree. And you don't need to be rich to be here. Matter of fact, when you're here, you're going to be almost instantly rich. I mean, I'm just being honest, guys.
Speaking of minimum things to bring, yes, your passport, yes, an ATM card, and a backup ATM card. The majority of you watching this will likely have a cell phone plan in the United States that locks your phone to that SIM, and it is not necessarily very cost-effective to use it internationally. If you have T-Mobile, you don't have this problem. But if you're an AT&T or a Verizon person, then your phone will effectively not allow you to put a different SIM in it. If you're going to come over here one time, and you're probably not going to use your phone a whole lot, and you can get a really reasonably priced data package, like from Verizon or whatever, like let's say $100 extra this month, multiple.
That's how much it costs. Exactly $100.
Yeah, data anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Then go for it. But I will tell you that after before I left Bangkok to go to Pattaya, I met a friend. I met a friend just around the corner from the JW, and one of the things that she actually asked me, I never knew this, we'll get into this on a different thing about apps, is she said, oh, do you have Line? And this is back in 2012. And I'm like,
Yeah,
you mean
what is
a
Line?
piece of string?
Yeah.
Line was at the time a new app out of Japan, but it's very ubiquitous now. But the point is that I was like, well, no, I don't. And she said, oh, well, let's go to 7-Eleven so you can get a SIM card. And that's very common, right? If you come over to this part of the world, you get a SIM card for the country you're in. And so if you think you're going to spend any time over here and you're going to want to communicate with the local people using Tinder, for example, or whatever, then I would highly recommend you either get through your contract so that you can actually buy your phone and own it and it becomes unlocked, or if you have T-Mobile, just call them and say, hey, I need to, basically travel internationally. They'll put you on the international plan in 145 countries, 245, whatever. The point is that basically you get off the nice thing is that you get off the plane in Bangkok, you turn your phone back on, and it literally works the same way it does in San Diego.
Which is awesome.
That's pretty sweet.
And, it's really important that your first time visit, have open communication.
Yeah, if you can't, communicate... that's I didn't really think about that as an important thing, but so hopefully they watched all the way through and they got to this mega important safety tip.
Mega important thing, and that's going to lead us into our next segment. So be sure to smash that like, subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned for segment 3, in which we're going to talk about how much it costs to live here in Thailand.
Not just vacation, okay.
Not just vacation. Now, you can look back at one of my older videos. Actually, I posted about a week ago. It shows how much it costs to stay here 30 days. Now, keep in mind, that's basically on my 3rd visit. So we're going to talk to Mike about how much it costs to live here in Thailand, which he's already briefly talked about, cell phone plan. But we're going to give you a little more data about how much it costs for that cell phone plan, as well as rentals of condos, food, all sorts of different things. And what are you going to do? I mean, as an expat, what do you do, right? So let's stay tuned for segment number 3. Like, subscribe, and then also be sure to like and subscribe to
LiveMyAssOff.com.
LiveMyAss.com. Until the next time, until we meet again.
Love you. Isn't that who you were going with?
Live your best life, baby. Live your best life.
Live the
and
dream.
Live the
Peace.
dream. See you in
Up top.
Thailand.